Let me ask you something. When was the last time you said yes to something you absolutely did not have time for? Like a meeting invite. Or to someone who says, "This will just take a minute." Or a request that starts with, "Can you just..." And here's the real question. Why did you say yes? Okay, to be fair, it is natural to say yes, and it is nice to say yes, but in this episode, I want to talk to you about the more difficult word to pronounce in the modern workplace, and that word, of course, is no. It is, however, a word that will protect your time, your energy, your sanity, and your health. In fact, learning how to say no is one of the most important skills you can develop if you wish to succeed in a world that constantly demands more. Welcome to Cool Time Life. I'm Steve Prentice. I'm glad you're here. Each of our Cool Time Life episodes focuses on a topic dealing with people, productivity, technology, and work life, and each offers ideas and facts you need to know about to thrive in today's busy world. An index of our podcasts is available at CoolTimeLife.com. Why no feels so hard. Most people don't struggle with actually pronouncing the word no, of course, but they do struggle with the imagined consequences of saying it. In many cases, when someone asks a question and you answer no, it sounds more like a rejection of that person rather than just simply a clear response. Humans are social creatures, and we instinctively want to steer clear of confrontations or negative situations. When people get rejected, that experience will last longer in their memory than many other good experiences that they might have had with you. I know that's unfair, but it is part of the human instinct for self-preservation, to steer clear of those things we subconsciously perceive as dangers, and being rejected with the word no is one of these. So it is clearly not a comforting word in most cases. By the way, have you ever considered that responding to an email falls squarely into this category? Because it does. The act of stopping your focused work to read and respond to an email at a time when you should be working on something of greater importance means you are saying yes to that email in spite of the work you should be doing. You are prioritizing the message over your other tasks when that message really should wait for later. In the context of our work and our work relationships, the word no does not have to mean never, and it certainly does not have to mean I hate you. It is not a rejection of someone, it is simply a negotiation technique. And that's something we have to take on ourselves. We must make sure the word is conveyed as a negotiation, not as a rejection. And it is all in how you say it. But let's first look at the hidden cost of not saying no. Not saying no will cost you more. Why? It's more than just putting aside your top priority activities to address someone's immediate needs. That's bad enough because that's time you cannot get back. But the hidden cost is that in doing this, in accommodating someone else's immediate request, although it might make the requester happy for this moment, you are also teaching them that you are willing to sacrifice your time whenever they ask for it in the future. You are conditioning them through direct experience that you will always say yes to their future requests in the same way. This condemns you to a life of uncomfortable obligation, because it will be much more difficult to say no to this person after you have said yes once or even a few times before. People start to count on the things they have experienced, and your willingness to take on their requests is one of these. A no said further down the line of this relationship will hurt them much more than a no at the start, and sadly that hurt is what they will remember about you most vividly. Therefore, it is safer for all of your long-term work relationships to set the guardrails the first time this request is made. Again, the point here is not to say, no, go away. It is not necessary to reject someone outright. It is necessary instead to negotiate, to find a suitable alternative that people can live with comfortably. Yes, you might feel compassion for the requester, along with a true desire to help them out. You might also think that their request is valid and that they are in a bind. It is good, of course, to have such a responsible conscience, but remember that even the nicest requester can quickly switch gears from saying, "Thank you so much, you really helped me out," in the first instance, to, "So, when will it be ready?" Turn that no into a negotiation and focus on managing their expectations, especially in advance. These are two very powerful skills. So here's a couple of examples. First, email. You choose to respond to emails the moment they come in. Why do you do that? It's most likely because you know the sender is waiting for a reply. So you feel social pressure. Also, it's a new task or priority, an urgency of sorts that you feel you must address. So that's another pressure. These feelings of pressure come from the same area of your mind and of your nervous system as the fight or flight reflex. The bottom line is, with all of this, is that when your instinct perceives something urgent, it puts aside everything else to deal with it. If you see a coyote or a bear near your car, for example, or worse, near your kids or your dog, you don't need time to think. You're just going to go on there and get everyone to safety. That is the fight or flight response. No thinking, just doing. But believe it or not, we respond the same way to email and other types of instant messaging. Sure, a new email in your inbox doesn't seem to be on the same danger level as a coyote, yeah, but your ancient brain doesn't see it that way. It perceives a new thing in the environment, and consequently it must be investigated in case it is a danger. That's how your brain and your nervous system work, and that reflex kept your ancestors alive for hundreds of thousands of generations, and is the reason you are here today listening to these words. So reflex is easily fooled, and electronic messaging makes the non-urgent seem urgent. You can quite rightly argue that email is part of your job, and it is, but that's not what your business card says that you do. It most likely does not show your job title as a professional email responder. Yes, it's part of your job, but it's not the main part. It's not even the most important part. So the better route is to first understand that your reflex is being tricked, and secondly, practice the art of managing expectations proactively. You can show respect for others at the same time as you show respect for yourself by simply letting people know when they can expect a response from you. Add a phrase to your signature lines. Set an autoresponder anywhere that people communicate with you that says something like, "Your work hours might not be the same as mine. Please note that I will respond to your email within 3 hours." Or, "by the end of the day." Or within 24 hours, whatever works for your specific job. A message like this gives people satisfaction that they will hear back from you in an acceptable time frame. The time frame is up to you, depends on the type of work that you do, but the act of influence is vital. It is also vital, of course, that you honor this promise by returning those messages. But by managing people's expectations, you remove the fight or flight pressure from yourself as well as from the sender. And this is a major part of the art of negotiation. So, yes, answering emails when you shouldn't is an example of not saying no. Proactively managing expectations is the art of saying no strategically and positively, without even saying the word. So think about it. There are times already when you just can't be there at a certain time. For example, if somebody asks, "Are you free at 2 o'clock for a meeting?" and you say, "Sorry, no, I have a dentist appointment." Your requester is unlikely to say, "Hey, no problem, I'll come with you and I'll sit in the chair next to you while you have your teeth examined." This shows that people are already quite able to move around and reschedule to other times when they see that you are not available, and the reason is both legitimate and comprehensible. So we have to make that happen every single time. Here's another example. The simple request. Let's just say as an example that someone needs help doing a task that they are not familiar with, such as using a photocopier or a multi-function printer. Maybe it's a toner issue or just simply setting it up, and they turn to you for help. Of course, that's a good thing to do. But rather than just simply helping them outright and conditioning them to know they can always turn to you for tech support going forward, tell them instead, "I will be happy to show you this one time, so watch and learn. It's a vital skill." By saying this, you are essentially training or even delegating. You are handing off the ownership of this skill to the requester and alerting them to the fact that they must watch and learn because they'll be doing it next time. Similarly, if someone comes to you with an urgent request, something that needs to be done right now, If no is still not something that you want to say, then consider saying, I will do this for you this one time, but in return, I want to have a discussion with you about how this happened and how we can avoid it happening again. In this case, you get to play the reciprocity card. I do something for you, you do something for me. That something turns into an educational opportunity in which you can help the requester better plan their workload so as not to fall into this time crunch trap again. Don't forget, they might even respect you for this. When faced with saying something negative like no, it is easy to overestimate how offended someone will be, especially if that person is a manager. That's called social cost bias. But in the same way we can overestimate the sense of offense someone might feel, at the same time we can underestimate the respect that can be gained by setting these boundaries. People are always watching and learning how other people do things. And most people experience some sort of imposter syndrome at some point. All of us are looking for role models, people we can learn from. So when I see someone who is confident enough to turn a no into a negotiation, I see someone with an admirable skill, a combination of self-confidence and a valuation of their own time. So even if I'm the one being said no to, what seems to be a rejection becomes a demonstration of a skill that I, the requester, can take note of and learn about. I could use this too. Yes, it's true, most of us do want to be seen as helpful, reliable, a team player. This is called identity-based compliance. So we comply because we see ourselves as part of a team first, and we say yes to a request even when it hurts us. Doesn't have to be this way, and it shouldn't be this way. One tool you can use to help set up the guardrails is your calendar. Many people use their online calendar solely as a reminder of the tasks that they must do. But a calendar is so much more than that. It is a tool of influence. If your calendar looks empty, people assume you're free. That's natural. But if it is mostly booked, and you cleverly left a small amount of free time available, a requester will jump onto that time and will feel good about it, unaware that you set up those extra times precisely for that reason. You give someone the illusion of choice, when in fact you are simply controlling the volume of your day. The requesters receive a sense of free will, but in fact what you're doing is telling them no for all of those other hours of the day that are marked off as booked, without even having to pronounce the word. I want to give you an example from the world of retail, specifically supermarkets. One of the things that I love is when I see a supermarket put a product on special, on sale. And they put up a display. And you look at it and see that it says, special offer this weekend, customer limit 4 items only. And you think, oh, this is such a good deal. Yes, I'll take 4. Being totally unaware that the plan all along by the store was to give that number 4 as the cue for how many you should buy. Otherwise, you might just simply buy 1 of this product. But when the sign says customer limit 4 only, it actually turns our minds the other way around. Rather than saying, why do I need 4, to thinking, I must get 4 while the deal is good. This is a classic example of subtle influence. Why sell 1 item when you can sell 4? The best way to do that is to actually give people the illusion of choice while guiding them towards your target. Coming back to our workplace, bottom line is if you do not defend your time with techniques like this, others will simply claim that time. Saying no is not rejection. I've already mentioned that, but it's worth saying again. It is not rejection. It is resource management. And that resource is you. It's an act of restoration and balance. It's also a very professional demonstration of the respect you have for your own time and talents. You bring to the table a major collection of skills, technical, organizational, social, and human. We tend to forget that these exist and suppress our own value in the interest of peace and being a team player. My suggestion is you can do both. You can be a peaceful team player and still respect your time for the value it delivers to others. And remember, by the way, that every time you do say yes to a request, you are saying no to something else. Largely, your top priority work, your focus, your health, your family, your sleep, and your long-term success. You notice the word I'm repeating here? You're giving yourself away unnecessarily. So saying no is not selfish. It is leadership and it is professionalism. Now, there are two types of no we can consider as you go along here. The first is the soft no, as in not now. This is a negotiation tool. It protects your priorities while still offering a path forward. You could say, for example, I can't do 2 p.m., but I can review it tomorrow. And this gives people comfort. Their expectations have been managed. They can live with this. You do not have to suffer through the fight or flight reflex, throwing your day off schedule just in the interest of peacemaking. You give them a suitable alternative to now. Context makes the word no much easier. Although the word no by itself can feel harsh when it stands alone, when you add context, it becomes reasonable. As in, I can help, but not today. Does Thursday work for you? There is no need to reject someone when you can collaborate instead. Then there's also the hard no. The hard no doesn't say not now, it says not ever. Sometimes the right answer is simply, this isn't something that I can take on. There's another department for this. There's another expert, another person. This is not rude. It's not emotional. It's just a fact. There may be a better resource available, another person or department better suited to this task. The hard no feels more harsh, but it teaches people what they need to know. The danger of not doing this and saying yes instead is that you become stuck with having to repeat this every time you are asked. You set a precedent and reputation for being the path of least resistance. Don't be on that path. It's vital to set this precedent early because if you give your time away once, as I said before, you will have committed to giving it away always. Now, will this work with your boss? This is the trickiest question of all, of course, but it is not impossible. If your boss is someone who comes at you with out-of-the-blue assignments or spontaneous meetings, it might be because they're really busy themselves, or it might be because they are disorganized. It might simply be an exercise in demonstrating their power as manager, as in, I'm bored, I have nothing to do, so I will go and have a spontaneous one-on-one meeting with my employee, just because I can. It might feel that the power balance is one-sided in this type of relationship, but there's always room for negotiation, and there's always some leverage. Every manager or boss wants their department to be successful and to look good. You are responsible for making your boss look good. This means it's always possible to guide that person, your boss, towards better behavior by framing it in the context of the success of the department. Rather than saying no outright, it may be possible to shape your boss's activities by suggesting, for example, a weekly or daily huddle, where you get to review your boss's priorities and timelines and then schedule the preparatory tasks accordingly. This is not an act of saying no to your boss, nor is it about prying into their private professional life. It is an exercise in project management and team management. This is actually called managing up. We all have the power to influence our futures through planning and communication and diplomatic negotiation. You and your boss are on the same side. You are working in an organized way towards greater success and efficiency for your department. Therefore, crises and unplanned events can and should be replaced by planned, cool communication and structure. You can take the lead to manage up and influence your boss to communicate with you more clearly, more frequently, so that out-of-the-blue crises do not happen, and that your boss can understand the reasons why you might not be available at any time. It's always for the good of the department and for your boss's image along the way. So ultimately, saying no, whether it's to your boss or to a colleague or even to a customer, should never be about being difficult or antisocial. But that's where most people get stuck. Saying no is about being deliberate about the value of your time and theirs. When you protect your time, as I have said, you protect your value and you condition others to manage their own expectations more realistically. When you negotiate your commitments, you lead your day rather than being led by it. As with all of these types of soft skills, the choice is yours to take this on or not, and that is fine, of course. Some people who come to you as a requester don't even realize what they're doing. They might be bad at managing their own time and tasks and are just in need of some help. That's understandable. But to carry that person's weight one time means you will likely have to do it many more times, because that's the image you will have created. Honestly, your time is the most valuable thing you have, because no one in the entire history of humanity has ever found a way to get any of it back. So, learning how to negotiate rather than capitulate is a skill that will help you go further, achieve greater balance, maintain and actually improve relationships with your colleagues, your customers, and your boss. And not only will it help you with your workload, it will also help you with your mental and physical health. If you have a comment about this podcast or a suggestion for a topic you would like me to discuss in future episodes, please drop me a line through CoolTimeLife.com. You will also find a link to the episode's blog post there, as well as videos that I put out on TikTok and YouTube. If you feel you are getting value from this series, please do leave a review and tell one more person about us, or mention us on social media. You can also check out my Substack page to get even more valuable information about work, life, and technology. The link to this is also on the Cool Time Life site. Until next time, stay safe, stay confident, and thanks for listening.